All right, man. Listen, special episode with a real special guest of mine here, Rajai Davis, former major leaguer. I appreciate you coming on and doing this with me and taking time out of your day, bringing your son on down and giving me this opportunity. I think I shared this with you in our last conversation. You were pretty impactful on me growing up. I met you when I was a junior in high school, and I grew up, I didn't really have a dad around or anything like that. And I kind of just ran with like kids here in New London, and, you tried to find what comfort was, but I love playing baseball. And having met you, that was, it kind of, steered me in the right direction. I knew what I wanted to accomplish, and I learned a lot from you in those years. So one, I appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to having you on. So Rajai Davis, You have an impressive career. I had to do a little statistics, and I followed you obviously throughout your years. 14 years in the major league, correct?
14 years.
14 years in the majors, and I think you're number 66 all time stolen base list, which is awesome. I think in 1 year you swiped 50 with the 2010 Oakland Athletics.
Not to mention I was a part-time player.
He was a part-time player.
Part-time player, and I'm 66 on the list all the time. So can you only imagine if they let me run wild like Vince Coleman, Ricky Henderson?
Yeah.
I could have been up there.
Yeah, that's right.
But we thank God that I got where I was.
Absolutely. And obviously we know the iconic World Series Game 7, which I'll talk about. But I kind of, the purpose of my show, there's a couple of things. We know that now, you had a successful major league career, and now you're kind of doing, ventures on your own with your business and such. So I just want to promote that for people, and create content, have good conversations. So before I go into some of the stuff that I want to ask you, Rajai, I wanted to know, who was your rooting interest? What team did you root for growing up?
Who did I root for growing up? Oh, not to mention, I just want to touch on something that you had said earlier. When you were coming up, because I actually working out at New London High School.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that.
I was working out in the gym. And so, just trying to inspire some of the next generation, because I have always seen the talent in New London. And I've always seen it go sideways. I remember playing on a football team at New London High School as a freshman. And I was pretty good at football. Okay. Naturally, that was my best sport.
Was it?
Most people don't know that. Naturally, that was my best sport when I was in Willimantic.
Right.
I grew up in Willimantic, born and raised. It's about 30 miles away or so from New London High School. And then I moved my freshman year to New London. And I went out for the football team. Of course, I went late, but I went out for the football team, and our team ended up only losing one game.
Wow.
And I barely played.
What position did you play?
I played running back, but we had some really good running back. I'm talking about, these guys were outstanding. Of course, they were a little old for freshmen, but we won't go there. They were outstanding running backs, and they were freshmen at the time when I was there. And to think, if they would have just tapped into me then, I would have played. Yeah. But I wasn't the kind of guy to sit benches.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't really. I did not like sitting. I didn't feel like I should be sitting, and I felt like I should have got a shot.
Yeah.
So. Just wanted to inspire the youth at New London because of the talent that I saw there that would somehow get redirected with the crowds that, that the individuals would hang out with, and, just the decisions that they would make at such a young age, and the decisions that they made cost them their livelihood and their lives, and it would direct them in paths that they just couldn't get out of, couldn't dig themselves out of. And so just being around, when you see somebody that's made it and they come around and you see they're just like you, it's a different kind of twist on things. That came for me with John McDonough when I got to college. He was already in the major leagues. He was up and down in the major leagues. And I said, man, this guy's smaller than me. I run faster than him and I'm quicker than him. How did he make it?
Yeah, right.
You know, and you start having those questions with yourself. It's like, oh, if he did it, I can.
Right. You know, it's to that point. I think what you brought to me at that table, again, because it was me and Brother Goldie, which, you know, love that dude. We have an awesome relationship, you know, even when we don't, you know, connect. So good, you know, shout out to him and what he's doing in his ministry. But I was introduced to the faith of Christianity, and at 16, you know, I always believed in God, but I didn't understand what believing God was. And, you know, you brought me down to Miracle Temple Church. And that's the time that I kind of look back and was a transformative, you know, I knew very right then. I looked up to you. You know, you got called up in 06, right? To your major. That's when you made your major league debut that summer. And I was going into my senior year. And one of the things that you did, we were sitting, was me, you, I think it was Pastor Larry DeLong and Goldie. We were at, I can't remember what diner we were at. We were definitely maybe like friendlies when we used to do the men's, it was like a Saturday. We used to do the men's Bible studies over at Miracle Temple Church up top. And you had introduced vision boards. And I remember that year putting everything that I wanted down. I'm going to hit 92 miles per hour. I'm going to hit this average. I'm going to do everything. But it allowed me to believe in myself. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate you for that. And that you took that, you saw that there was a generation of talent that not only is, you know, sports is an outlet for them, but it's to give them, to help, you know, to lead them into a better life. So I really do appreciate that, Rajai.
Absolutely. I need to bring those vision boards back.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you know, because I'm part of so I do a lot of networking, and I'm part of all sorts of associations. And there was just a women's Women's Council of Realtors, and they have an affiliate membership where, you know, there's all sorts of people, and it's, you know, it's an organization that empowers women for leadership. And they had a woman come down to do vision boards, but I unfortunately couldn't make it. And it made me think about that, because I'm like, man, those were so impactful. So breaking into the major leagues in 06, I think it was in August, right? August 2006. You debuted against the Brewers. Yeah. You went 0 for 1. You stole a base. And that, bring me to that. You know what? You know that. From, you know, your minor league experience, the challenges coming, you know, from the minor leagues, you know, and how do you get through that? Because I think when we get to that at bat, which, Rajai, I swear, like, I've watched that at bat 1,000 times since 2016. One, because I know you, but two, the energy in that building probably for you, or in that stadium for you, was unreal. You had LeBron James there losing his mind, the crowd losing his mind. But bring me to the challenges that you dealt with and how you prepared. Because I think what I understand about you and pretty much, you know, professional athletes is that you have to quiet your mind in situations like that. And that doesn't just happen at that level. It happens at the level that you came up from. So walk me through that.
So let's talk about everything really. I had wrote down like the things that I had to learn coming up in the minor leagues, because I didn't have, for one, a mentor that made it. I didn't have a coach that made it. So I was trying to do these things on the fly. So I was trying to, just to get back to the vision board, right? That had always been my dream, first off. Right. And so things that did not line up with the vision, for me, those things weren't as important. So my vision was, when I was 10, little league age, I told my mom I'm going to the big leagues. I'm going to play for Major League Baseball. Right. And so I spend my days throwing a baseball all the time. I spend my days swinging my bat. And when I wasn't playing baseball, I was playing basketball, football, right? So I was doing all these things that were developing me in my mind. So I didn't have somebody to pitch to me. So I envisioned people pitching to me. Yeah. I practiced hitting things when they weren't there to hit. Right. And that's a message for really those who are underserved, those who don't have the money to go to all these camps. That's where you get an advantage.
Sure.
When you start learning to use your mind, and your mind will take you to a place you want to go.
Yeah.
And then you got to commit to it,
right?
Dedicate. And so in the minor leagues, I was very raw. What that means is my skill development. I had one very, very dominant skill, and that was the ability to run faster than most other players in the in professional ball, period.
When was that first brought to you? Like that, man, Rajai's fast.
That's been my whole life.
Yeah.
I've always been the fastest guy. I've always been that guy. But there's one thing in being fast, is one thing developing that speed to make it work for baseball, right? You got to learn how to catch the ball. You could be fast and get to the ball, get to everything, not catch it, right? So I had to learn how to catch a ball, right? And you could be fast and not know how to steal bases. There's a lot of people that are fast in the major leagues. There's a lot of people who are fast in professional baseball, and they don't steal bases. And you would never know that they're not fast or you would think they're not fast because they don't steal bases,
right?
But it's another thing that I had to learn. Yeah. It's a technique to stealing bases. Sure. And I learned that in minor leagues, right? And so I had to learn how to deal with failure. My first year, I had to learn how to deal with demotion, right? I was demoted my first year. In the first year, I was in short season A. After 3 weeks, they demoted me to a lower level to play with younger kids.
Yeah. Yeah. How old were you at that time?
I was 20. I got drafted at age 20. Yeah. And that's when I started my professional career at age 20. Yeah. 3 weeks into the season, I got demoted, and now I'm playing with the 18, 17, 16-year-olds that they bring over from the DR and Venezuela and all those leagues that they have over there. So I'm playing with a younger group, but they're professionals. Right. And, that's where I'm learning all these things. And so I'm learning every single year. I'm learning a new lesson. Yeah. I had to go through something. I had to be consistent. I had to learn how to be consistent. I had to learn how to hit for average. I learned how to hit for power. I learned how to consistently have a good attitude. Sure. Learn how to be a good teammate. Right. And so now I'm at the cusp of making it to the major leagues, of breaking through, because that's not an easy thing to do. Right. Because I had got sent down 3 years 3 years in a row from big league spring training. So I didn't make the team. Right. And I kept so it was like a real tough thing to break through. Yeah. Barrier. And there was one thing is like, I always dreamed about making it to the major leagues. And then when I get that call, you're going to the major leagues. Man.
How'd you feel?
That is like, I felt like I ascended to the clouds for about 4 days. I was walking around the cloud. I didn't care what I did on the field. That's a moment I did not care. Right. It kind of reminds me of the Game 7 hit in the bottom of the eighth, where it felt like I was in heavenly places. Walking around on clouds. That is hard to explain.
So since you brought that up, I want to go there, right? With that, again, I watched it 1,000 times, and I'm not even kidding. You search my YouTube history, it's going to say Rajai Davis history, 1,000 times. Chapman at that time he was probably peak Chapman, and he's still very good. He still throws over 100 miles per hour. But he attacked you with just fastballs, just fastballs. What I noticed, and I just noticed this recently about you, is every pitch you would step out of the box, because they didn't have the rules then where you got to be in the box, and you stepped out quickly, took a deep breath. But what I also noticed is you started inching up a little bit on the bat. Your hands started creeping up. And I think you were on his fastball. Walk me through that about the thought process.
Well, I gotta start because that's not where it started.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That was something that was anticipated.
Yeah.
That was something that I expected. I expected to be in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't let that situation creep up on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was ready for the situation. Right. And that started with a seed that was planted by a former teammate of mine. Mm. You know, he just, for some reason, he sent me a text and he said, Raj, I just have this feeling that you're going to do something great in this World Series. And so I was like, man, I agree with that. I'm going to do something great. Yeah. And that was a seed that was planted before the series started. And I'm looking for that opportunity to do something great. Didn't happen in game one. I didn't see it in game two. Nothing in game three. Game four, I stole 3 bases. That was like a record, you know, at that time. And yet that wasn't it.
Yeah.
I knew it wasn't it. And so I'm looking for game 5, nothing. Game 6, nothing. And then we get to game 7.
Yeah.
And we have to wait all the way. We got to wait all the way to game. The bottom of the 8th. I'm 0 for 3 at this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I got 1 hit in the series.
Yeah.
I'm like 1 for like 15 or whatever.
Yeah, I think it was 3 for 20.
Yeah.
3 for 20.
Yeah. And so I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
If you look at it like that way.
Right.
And I'm not getting the hits. I'm not doing anything. But this is the moment I'm looking for.
Sure.
Game on the line, down 2. I'm the tying run in the bottom of the 8th inning. And we got the best pitcher in the league. This guy had not given up a home run since June of that year.
Yeah. That was before he got traded, right?
I had not hit a home run since August of that year.
Wow.
So it had been about 2 months since I hit a home run. And since June, and it was November 2nd at that point.
Yeah. Cold.
It wasn't as cold as it would be in normally in a Cleveland November 2nd day.
Yeah.
But it was actually surprisingly warmer than I had initially expected. So I'm getting up to the plate. As I move up to the plate, I'm like, you know, Lord, hey, there is my Goliath. But I believe I'm David.
Yeah.
And David slayed that giant. I said, Lord, send me your biggest angel so you can slay my giant for me. I'm like, I need some help.
Yeah.
This is the moment I've been expecting. This is the moment I've been waiting for. This is not by chance.
Yeah.
But this is what I believe that God has put me in this position for a reason. So come through for me. And I was talking to somebody the other day about that moment. They had saw it for the first time. And they was like, man, it looked like you didn't even swing the bat.
Oh my goodness. I was thinking the same thing. And that's what I was asking. Like, I saw your hands keep inching up. And it's like, man, he got to that so quick, but it looked so effortless. It looked like you just kind of threw your hands at it and there it goes.
Yeah. There must have been those angels. That one angel just swinging that bat for me because, you know, I had dreamed about hitting, turning around, you know, 97 plus.
Yeah.
I remember watching a game and watching a guy, you know, hit a 97 in out of the park. I was like, man, how did they do that? I wonder, how did they do that? I get it now.
Right.
I get it now.
Right.
But I was like, man, I want to be able to do that one day.
Congratulations. That's such an awesome moment, man. And then I think for, you know, obviously for people who know you, for yourself, your family, the baseball community, Cleveland, you know, that was iconic, and that's forever going to be in history. I think at that time, both of teams, it was 100 years plus since the Cubs won the World Series, and I think close for the
like 43 or something
Cleveland at that time. Yeah. So, you know, such a cool moment to experience. And I remember waking up the next morning because a lot of my college teammates knew I knew you personally. They text me. I probably had 30 text messages from people like, Rajai, like, and at that point, I mean, I didn't see it overnight because I was excited and I went to sleep, and everyone was losing their mind, and it was a super cool thing. And you had a lot of cool moments in baseball, and there's a couple of things that I remember, because I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up, Derek Jeter was a big idol of mine. I watched him, till 2014 when he retired. In 2012, when you were with the Blue Jays, Casey McGee comes up to the plate, and he hits what we think is going to be a home run.
Yeah.
And you said, not today.
Again, these moments for me always happen before they happen.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I 2 weeks prior to that moment,
yeah,
I was talking to our hitting coach, Dwayne Murphy, who won 6 Gold Gloves or something like that. And we were talking about, he said to me, you can rob a home run. I was thinking, no, you can't. How would you do that? I just climbed the wall. I said, oh. I don't know why he said it, because we happened to be like in left field at that time.
Yeah.
Right by the wall.
That's a tall wall.
And it's a tall wall. I'm not just gonna jump up and get over the wall.
Right.
Right. I'm gonna need a little bit of assistance. Right. And so, okay, I thought about it. Well, how would I do it? And I thought, okay, I could do that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And so when he hits the ball, I'm like, uh-oh. I'm like, well, I think this is going to be like a routine, fly ball.
Yeah. Was the roof open?
The roof was closed.
Oh, it was closed. Okay.
So I'm thinking, when he hit it, I was like, oh, this is going to be a routine. And then it kept carrying and carrying. I said, uh-oh, this is the moment of truth. This is it. This is it. This is time. It's like, okay, now I'm going to time this thing. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to go for this thing.
Yeah.
And I just remember going up, putting my left foot into the wall.
Yeah.
And just boosting, getting a little boost from the wall up.
You remember Angels in the Outfield?
Yes.
The movie that was kind of like, it looked like that. It looked like that on TV. Like when I watched it, I was like,
I got a little boost, and it was great because I took my eyes off the ball for a slight moment, quick moment, and then I looked up and it was right there. I was like, "Oh, let me put my glove up, get this ball, catch this ball." And when it went in my glove, I was like, "Oh my gosh, what did I just do?" When I came down, I don't think anybody knew what happened. There was a pause, and I ended up just throwing it in because I saw the base runner had just he was at around second or something. So I throw the ball in, and then the crowd just goes bananas. Yeah, and I'm like, I just have nothing but a big smile.
Yeah, that was such an awesome play. A couple other things. You had a great walk-off grand slam with Detroit. That was cool. Yeah. One of the things that this came to me in recent memory. You got traded to the Giants, right?
I did.
In 07?
07, yeah.
And you were at the game when Barry Bonds broke the record, right?
I was.
What was that like?
So I'm watching, and it's because I'm there a lot of time, right? Yeah. I was there, watching them go through. It was really like a tough time because there's reporters there every day. First off,
right,
and you got the pressure on you. It's getting later in the season, and so there was a lot of pressure building up on him, and when he's going to do it and how it's going to go, and boom, boom, boom. So I remember having a early batting practice, just him, I, and one other guy, Fred Lewis, and we just had batting practice early one day in San Diego, and that's when he tied the record.
Yep.
And that's when he really got back into the feel of, his swing. And then after that, he tied the record there. We come back home, and that's when we breaks the record. But being there, it was the first time I ever experienced a game stopping.
Yeah.
Like for 20, 25 minutes, whatever it was, stop in the middle of a game.
And this is your first full year, right?
This is my first full year. And I had never experienced it. So it was new to me. I was like, these things happen? They actually stop games, and I know they're going to resume and everything, but they actually stop. Willie Mays comes on the field, everybody's giving hugs. The family comes on the field, speech. It's wow, this is an experience right here that I can never forget, because this is a moment that is happening in history.
Cool. Yeah, that's super cool. What are some of your favorite cities and stadiums to play in?
So my favorite cities to play in, just to make it quick and short, is the ones wherever I was hitting the best in. So when I was in Oakland, it was Anaheim, because they had that real short grass. I could hit ground balls up the middle. I could hit ground balls in the hole, and they got through.
Yeah.
Like other places, the grass would slow it down. I was a ground ball machine. I hit a lot of ground balls. I didn't know how to hit the ball in the air a lot like they're teaching nowadays. I just hit the ball, and I was just trying to get hits. Right. I just want because that's what I was always told. Hey, you get hits. You hit 300. You play.
Yeah.
All right. That's the only thing I wanted to do. Just hit 300.
Yeah. You had a respectable average too. 265 career average, putting the ball in play. I think that, I might be biased. I feel like that part of the game, I loved watching who was in the World Series last year, right? You got the Diamondbacks who just kind of slapped the ball. You got your boy Carroll, Cattell, those guys, they can really hit. And I love seeing that, it's a different style of baseball, what I'm used to watching, because I'll watch 150 Yankee games, and it's, historically it's been kind of like home run or bust over the last, 4 or 5 years. And I love the art of just putting the ball in play, beating out, hustling, beat out the ground ball and whatnot. What do you think, what do you think the future is for baseball with, the analytics and some of the changes? And do you like some of the changes that they have going on? Or?
Well, I think a lot of the changes that are going on now with the pitch timer has really helped the game to get back to what it used to be. I mean, there were a lot of them was a lot of quick games in the 80s, 70s, and those time eras, and just getting back to a quicker paced game where guys are not just wasting time. You used to have Nomar Garcia, you just step out and he's doing his batting glove thing. That's just, and now you got other guys stepping out doing their thing. And so that was time that was added on that made the game long and boring.
Stepping off, calling time in the box. Stuff like that.
And when you think of it as a business, that baseball's a business, like you have your fans are the ones that are your consumers. Those are the ones that are buying your product.
Sure.
And when you think of it that way, they don't want a long game. Right. I don't like a long game personally. No. I don't like watching long games, and I like to see action. I like to see action. And I think it's been good because of the rules that have been implemented. It has definitely sped up the game. It has helped base stealers. I haven't heard too many base stealers thanking MLB for bringing these rules in because I know if I had these rules, it would be a different ball game for myself. It just brings so much more excitement to the game. Stealing bases and the base stealing attempt is one of the most exciting plays in baseball. And according to the fans of MLB and getting back to what makes the game exciting. For me, it's making those great plays and defense, having guys steal bases, and also just having that back and forth kind of game. It's just
it took me a while to get used to the ghost runner at second base, because I felt like being the losing pitcher of record on a run that you didn't really give up, I had a hard time, but my feelings have changed a little bit, because it kind of turns it into a sudden death moment, like in hockey, right? When, they go into overtime, they get the sudden death. I think after the first or second overtime, they go into sudden death, and or like a golden goal kind of rule with soccer. But with baseball, it now kind of brings that excitement back. Like, this, the runners are second, but it just happened in the Yankees Diamondback game on Sunday, where they went back and forth for 2 innings. Verdugo hits the game tying home run. They come back and put up a couple runs later. I love that now. It just brings a level of excitement back.
Yeah, and I think that's the idea. Bringing that excitement, because some people only tune into hockey games or soccer matches when it's in overtime, because you're going to see the sudden death moment, and that's an exciting time in the game, because somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose,
exactly.
And that's, I think that's what MLB is trying to accomplish with these.
Do you think there'll be a time they'll implement those rules, like the second base and like play at postseason, or you think they'll just kind of keep things the way that they are?
You never know. It really it's dependent on the consumer and how things are shaping and how the baseball's doing.
Sure.
And, I think only time will tell.
Right.
What happens with with that.
Yeah. Well, Rajai, you we'll bridge over to your side of things now, post career, kind of some of the stuff that you're doing. You had mentioned to me about a month and a half ago, so when we reconnected, you have a business, Raise Your Speed.
Raise Your Speed.
Let's talk about Raise Your Speed, the mission of Raise Your Speed, and kind of what, how this came about.
So I wanted to help not only players get the right information, but I would see players, especially in major leagues, that were really good players, really talented, but they would have a good year, and they would just fall by the wayside. Yeah. They would lose, I don't know, it was focus and I realized that when you break a person's focus, you can break them, right? Correct. And the reason why men fail is because of broken focus. And so I wanted to bring that focus back to the player so that they can focus on what's going to help them be successful day in, day out. Because, once you have success in a major league, you think you can just do anything now. You don't have to do what you used to do. But I was taught that not only you have to do what you've been doing, but you got to do more of that.
Continue to work. Yeah.
You got to do more of that, to get better, because what happens is the major league is going to get better.
Right.
The teams that are scouting you are getting better.
Right.
They're learning your weakness. They're honing their craft against you, and now they have a better game plan against you.
Right.
So you can get away for a year.
Yeah.
But then they coming back. Yeah. And they're coming back with different pitches. They're coming back with a different look. Right. Some pitchers they one year they're this way. Yeah. Next year they're here. Yeah. Then they start switching up their pitches. Yeah. Their pitchers start doing different things. So those are the cat and mouse games that is played. But it all comes back to the mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It all comes back to how the player thinks. And one thought can snowball into a bad season.
Correct.
Right. So I'm trying to help prevent that thought or to combat that thought with some positive reinforcement, with some accountability.
Yeah.
And, I'm doing the mechanics of baseball.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the mechanics of baseball could be on and off the field, right? It's, off the field, that affects what the player does on the field. If the home life is off, it's going to affect what's going on the field, the product on the field. If the finances is off, it's going to affect what's going on that field, right? And so being able, sometimes to separate the two and be able to go into the office of your work and do the job that you have been contracted to do is a big thing. And so, my goal with Raise Your Speed is, initially I wanted to just teach the speed aspect of it, but that's just one aspect. Right. The bigger picture is to raise accountability for players and to make them better because of what I have seen when you hold men accountable for what they do and their actions.
What are some of the routines that you use from a focus and just kind of locking in? I hear a lot of professionals do breath work, they do prayer, meditation. They get up early, they work out, they do this, they do that. What are some things for you in your career that work that you bring to Raise Your Speed?
So when I was in coming up in the minor leagues, I had a season where I hit 384. Now, most of the season I'm hitting over 400. And there was I lost my focus the last 2 weeks of the season. Lost my focus because I picked the wrong roommate. Or maybe I picked the right roommate. But what happened was I allowed what he was doing to affect what I did. Right. He brought a girl back to the room, and it's like, oh, my distraction got totally took because he brought two, and so I got distracted the last 2 weeks of the season, and it messed what would have really been a really great season, and it was already a good season, right? I was hitting 384.
Yeah.
I finished with 384, but I was sitting at 423 for the longest time, right? I was sitting pretty, 2 weeks prior to that, and this was the turnaround of my career,
right?
And one thing that I was doing was spiritually, I was strong, right? My spirit was strong. And when you know who you are, it makes your performance that much more better, right? I realized that when I went out to play, it wasn't just me going out there to play. It looked like me.
Yeah.
People said, man, that was Rajai out there. But my prayer was, Lord, these are your hands. This is your body.
Right.
Let your glory be done. Right. And that was the difference. This is the first time I got away from home. And so these are some of the principles and the routines that I had daily, right, that got me focused on what's important. And what's important is for me to really represent God, and so that other people could see what he can do with an individual. If you just trust him, if you believe him, if you put and train yourself to be excellent. I want to be great. Right. And I believe God wants us all to be kings of a certain dominion or domain, right? Whether what that is, that's what you have to discover.
Right.
And I'm still discovering, what that is, especially post career. Right. So, and I think we're all designed to be a ruler over, so not ruler over people, but ruler over that domain that God has blessed us with.
Absolutely.
Whether it's gift or talent or an area that you're great at.
Yeah. I think that, like I said, major inspiration to me. I think you're major inspiration for people. We got to give a quick shout out to AV, Adrian Vega, 13 Golden Street, New London, Connecticut, letting us do this here. But with Raise Your Speed, where can people find you? How can people locate Rajai Davis at Raise Your Speed and some of the support systems that you offer?
So it's raiseyourspeed.com. That's RAISE speed, SPEED. I missed it. Raise Your Speed. .com. So it's I have my own website, and that's where you can kind of contact me, send me an email, and let me know what you're trying to do. I'm doing training with locally in the New London County area. So we're working on the mechanics. If you want to learn how to hit for more power, if you want to learn how to hit the ball far, you want to learn how to be more consistent. You want to learn what it's like, what is the pro skills and how to catch the ball. The pro level. How to run the bases, how to steal bases, how to take 8 to 10 inches off your steal, right? If you want to learn these things, this is what I bring, right? And I think a lot of people want to know about the hitting part, right? And getting out there and hitting is great, and doing the work. But if you want to take your game to the next level, and that's what I bring, the next level, right? You want to go further than what you may even believe, right? You may not even know that. Guess what? You have the talent. But if you ask me, I could be honest with you, with your talent. Okay, your talent, it may be only good for high school. Your talent may be only good for college. But if that's what you want to do, great. Right. And there are some individuals that have the talent to play professional that don't realize it. They don't have someone telling them that they have the talent. They don't have somebody, they don't believe in themselves. And here's what I've always known. here's what I always know. I have known for the longest time that if you want to go to X, Y, or Z, you got to find someone that's already been there.
Yeah.
And what happens is they will teach you how to get to where they got.
Right.
And that's a level of humility.
Mm-hmm.
Like you got to be able to humble yourself to receive instructions and correction and in order to get to a place where you really want to go. Right. And there's a lot of talent, especially in this area. But this is not only am I doing it locally, but I plan on doing it also remotely. Right.
Yeah.
To get with, those who cannot have access, in this area, but to do it remote. And, I work with, professional athletes right now in accountability and helping them to, with really how to think,
right,
and keeping them accountable for what they already know.
Right.
They know to do right, but I hold them to that standard, right? And a lot of them, sometimes they don't know, right? But sometimes it's just a reminder of what they already know, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm reminding them of keys that they already know, just to keep them on track, right? Because I've learned that if you don't have someone to keep you on track, you could fall off easily.
Accountability buddies. Yeah, we in my line of work, so in insurance, that's same thing. It's kind of, and that's what I love about what you're doing, because it's not just at the professional level for sports, but it's life skills too. And I know for me in insurance, like I've been doing it for now, this is my 9th year. April's my 9th year in the industry. When I started in 2015, I was a fish out of water, man. Like it was so difficult figuring out how to navigate, because it's a people business, and it can very easily snowball into negative, like this. I'm not built for this. I don't want to do this. But having an accountability buddy within my teams that I've worked with went a long way. I would not be where I'm at today with that accountability piece, because it taught me. So for what you're doing, I love it so much, Rajai. I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been, I probably haven't seen you in almost a decade. So, thanks for coming on with me and doing this and sharing a few minutes of your time. I look forward to staying in touch and seeing where Raise Your Speed goes. And I know, your ability and who's on your side, and it's, take it to heights.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
All right, bro.